I've come to Parkside Cemetery in Kendal in the Lake District. This cemetery is huge. It's on both sides of the road, and even just this side it stretches way into the distance. If you're hearing a background drumming noise, there seems to be some sort of celebration going on back in the town. So please excuse the background to this video. Treasured memories of Lance Bombardier Sidney Riley, Royal Artillery. Dearly loved youngest son of Frank and Mary E. Riley, died in 1943. So one suspects that's a war casualty. Also Frank Riley, 1960, and his wife who died in 75, and some other names beneath. Behind is one with the same words, treasured memories. Jack, the dearly loved husband of Elizabeth Musgrove Sim, 1891 born, 63 died. A story to be told. John Groves, for 12 years a constable in the Kendal police force, killed in Stramongate while in the execution of his duty, 1886, aged 41. Then Margaret, his daughter, and Martha, his wife, beneath. As always in these cemeteries, your eyes are immediately drawn to a number of war graves. There are 3 showing in this shot. And if I simply remain at the same spot and turn 180 degrees, there are 2 more. Lance Corporal L. M. Allen of the Border Regiment, 1940, age 19. And this one from the Second War, Sergeant J. Corrie, pilot in the Royal Air Force, 1942, age 31. The family have put not lost, but gone before. And left to stand alone is this memorial of a child, and it's in memory of Raymond Musgrave, 1940, aged 4 years. William Langthorne, 1890, aged 43. Jane Ann, his wife, 1917. Their son, daughter-in-law, further down. This is a little different because the inscription is on metal plaques. On this face it commemorates John William Archer, died 1918, aged 53, and then his wife who died later in 1938. This one again has those words, treasured memories of Frederick Rockcliffe, 1945, aged 46. Don't often see treasured memories. I think it's probably something put forward by the stonemason who looked after the inscriptions in this graveyard. A very clear inscription on this stone, although they fenced it off because they think it's dangerous. Anthony Simpson Robinson, who died in New Zealand in 1895, aged 66. Hannah Robinson, 1898, Richard Robinson, their brother, 1908, and various other Robinsons as we go down the stone. A war grave with a personal stone, Private William Alexander Coulton, Royal Army Medical Corps, who fell asleep at Dartford War Hospital, 1916, aged 24. And beneath that we've got other members of the Coulton family. an elaborate memorial. This is to Matthew D. Rome of Kendal, who died at Torquay, aged 78, and then his wife, who died in 1900, and we got various members of the family mentioned on the stone. But nice to see that classical sort of sculpture. It's just a woman partially kneeling, hands clasped together. A tall polished stone obelisk, and on the base, Henry Johnson, 1897, 74th year, and Agnes, his wife, 1901. John Sawrey of Broughton Tower, Broughton in Furness, JPDL, 1881, aged 91. The inscription on this has been preserved very well. It's been brought out in relief. Emmeline, brackets Lena, Ruth, second daughter of Robert Fisher and Mary Thompson of Highgate View in Kendal and Inclemere Arnside, 1864, 1883. And then their beloved and only son, 1869 to 1889, and others mentioned as we go down. Very clear inscription. Grayston Webster of Kendal, a land agent and surveyor, 1891, age 67. James, his wife, 1872. And James, their son, who died on board ship in the Red Sea, 1885, age 24. Well, as I've been working partly through the first part of the graveyard, I've now gone through a gate and found another section with numerous stones. This is a very large cemetery. A more modern stone, but I was fascinated by the Christian name of the gentleman, Kathleen Muriel, very dear wife of Thornborough Gibson, and of Thornborough himself in 1987. That's the first time I've seen that Christian name. In the stone alongside, third daughter of Thornborough and Mary Elizabeth Gibson. And next to that, a much larger stone, Thornborough Gibson of 177 Highgate, Kendal, 1932. Throughout this cemetery, they've left specimen trees to grow. And this particular one is absolutely spectacular. Now, we used to call it the monkey puzzle tree when we were kids. I have no idea what its real name is, but it just looks really good there. Further in, the graves are newer, the stones are smaller but better kept, but so many of them. Sometimes amongst all the modern stones with their black glossy finish and gold and silver writing, something simpler really stands out. I love this. Polly Sarah Connor, 2 dates and forever loved. I'm going to leave this side of the road now. I have by no means covered it all. A lot I didn't reach. But I am aware that there's another part of the graveyard over the road, so I'm going to wander over there and just check that out. So this is the entrance to the graveyard on the other side of the road. I notice on this side of the road the graveyard borders a football pitch, And there is a match on today, so we hear the PA and shouting, cheering and the whistle blowing. So if you hear those noises in the background, you'll understand what's going on. This one is to John Wilcock, 1862 to 1916, headmaster of the council school, 1890 to 1916. I hope you can read that with the patterned shadow hanging over it. An interesting design of stone, leaning unfortunately to the left, but you can see the anchor, the top of the anchor, and on the right hand side the bottom of the anchor. The inscription is very difficult to make out, but it's a nice design. On the left hand side we've got some flowers wrapping around the stone. Well, through the trees you can see the football match going on. That's the pitfalls of looking at a cemetery on a Saturday afternoon, peak football time. Well, I've had to move away from the area near the football ground. A lot of shouting coming through. This side of the road, the graveyard is much smaller. I'm wondering why there's separation, whether it's nonconformists or maybe Roman Catholics. I don't know. I'm not quite sure why we have two cemeteries, one each side of the road. And way down near the edge of the cemetery, Farrier J.D. Jones, Duke of Lancs, own yeomanry, 1916, age 32. A farrier reminds us that in the First World War, horses were still one of the main forms of transport, and tens of thousands of horses perished out there in those appalling conditions. Well, I'm going to leave the Parkside Cemetery in Kendal at this point. It's a nice cemetery. I love the first section, particularly with the specimen trees just spaced out amongst the monuments. Really lovely place. And that's it for this moment. Till the next time.